stop trying to be positive all the time. Stop trying to live this one-sided life and, have everything perfect and only love and light and good vibes only and positive vibes only. And love yourself in your darkness.
Hi guys, welcome back to episode 170. Now, every now and again I like to bring on a guest just to shake things up a little because we do focus a lot on business advice and tips. But sometimes you just need to look at yourself and how you're wired and how you're operating in the world. And this is a perfect conversation for that. So if you have felt stuck for a year, 5 years, 10 years on the hamster wheel, like life's not changing or going the way you want it to, this show is for you. And I've invited Jill Ogle on to have a chat with you. So she's on a mission to cause a spiritual revolution. And I don't want you to take those words and go, oh, woo woo, whatever. It's not like that. Wait till you hear our conversation and you'll get it. She's really looking at real healing of ourselves as humanity and what that means. She has a unique way of working with people. I don't know if you guys have heard of Joe Dispenza, but she's done a lot of work with him. She has her own unique method of working with people, leaders, influencers, incredible, and even the everyday daily person just looking to make a bigger impact. So stay tuned because this is quite a great episode. You're going to walk away feeling quite different and better, I think, genuinely about why you are where you are right now. All right, so are you ready? Let's welcome Jill onto the show. Jill, thank you so much for being on the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so grateful for you to have me here. Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Yeah, really
Good.
well.
And you're up in Newcastle in kind of middle New South Wales.
I am.
As well.
I am.
Amazing.
The sun is out. It's absolutely stunning out there today. So yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to this chat because I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm open to it.
Yeah.
So let's do this. I always like to start with a few tangible takeaways, and then we'll dive into your journey and what you're doing on this, your work on this planet, essentially.
Yeah.
So let's start with your own business. I'd love to know how you personally manage your life and business so you're not stuck in that grind, hustle, craziness. So what are a few things that you do?
Yeah. I think it's really, really important for people to be on purpose is the big thing. And when I say on purpose, I had a friend who is a photographer for dogs, and she loves taking photos. She's brilliant at it, but she was doing all of it. She was doing all the things, right? She was the admin, she was the marketing, she was, and she ended up closing down her business. Okay. So when I say be on purpose, I mean, be the dog photographer. Don't be the admin. Don't be the marketer. Don't be all of the things, right? You want to do what you're genius at, what your zone of genius is, and delegate the rest to the best of your ability. Now, I do understand that when you're in startup mode, that can be difficult, or if you're a control freak, that can also be difficult. However, if you really want to avoid burnout, you've got to stop doing things that burn you out. And, this is one of the things that I do first with clients when they come to me. I'm like, what is your purpose? What are you here to do? And what are you doing that's not that? Because that is the first thing that will take you off track in life.
I want to ask a question on that, actually,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of my listeners, just people in my network as well, whether they, I'll say, accidentally fell into their business or, gotten that sort of shiny object syndrome, like, oh yeah, I'll say yes to all the projects to grow my business, and then suddenly 10 years later they're going, wow, do I want to be here? And they actually kind of don't even know what they're meant to do. Like, honestly, I think you probably come across this. There's a lot of people that actually don't know their purpose, or they forgot it somewhere along the way. Where do you start to rekindle that?
Yeah. So I ask a lot of questions basically to find out what really is important to people. Things that you can start to do for yourself at home is say, just ask yourself what energizes you. what energizes you, what lights you up, because that's literally it. What is most meaningful to you. And if you find yourself, I have to do this, or I have to get up and go to work, or I have to, that's not it. That's not like that's the fastest way to get to burnout, really. And so if you can instead really ask yourself, do I want to do this thing? Now, difficult things and hard things are different to, because you're still going to have challenges and you're still going to do hard things, right? To get out of your comfort zone, to expand yourself.
Yeah.
But if it's in alignment with your purpose, you'll do it. So if it's something that really doesn't light you up, that doesn't lead to that thing that lights you up, get rid of it. Get someone else to do that thing if it's necessary in your business, or just dump it altogether. So yeah, I sort of talk to people about, do delegate. So if you're going to do it, put a date on it. If it's actually not necessary and it's just something that you've always done, so you've kept doing it, but you don't need to do it anymore, dump it. And if it's something that doesn't light you up, delegate it to someone else, Get someone who lights up doing admin to do your admin and your taxes.
It's true though.
Oh God, I can't think of anything worse. So, but put me in front of people all day, every day, and I'm lit up, I'm energized. So, people come to me with chronic fatigue, and I had chronic fatigue for many years, and burnout, and, they're stressed and they're overwhelmed. And it really comes down to you're doing a lot of, I was going to swear, a lot of stuff that you really don't want to do in life, because if you focus on doing the things that light you up, that energize you, that are meaningful to you, you'll end up living a life you love. But we can, we get skewed.
We certainly do. Yeah, because you get caught in that hamster wheel mindset, and it's one day, like 1 year or 2 years later, you're like, whoa, how did I get here?
Exactly. And time is flying. I don't know. It just seems to be going so
Faster and
quickly.
faster. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what else? Is there anything else outside of living, in your purpose, and at least working out what that is? Are there any other tactics or advice to give people to get out of that crazy mindset?
Yeah, I mean, the work I do, really helps to regulate your nervous system. And I actually just put a post up this week because I was thinking about including breath work into my program. And I'd really been sort of like back and forth on this for about 6 months. And I'm like, I don't want to teach breath work. Where is this coming from? Why am I wanting to pull this in, And the past mentor that I worked for had breath work in his program. And, it is big in the nervous system regulation arena because it is helpful. Breath work is helpful. But the realization I had this week was I actually don't want to teach breath work. And the work that I do actually gets to the root cause of why you're dysregulated in the first place. So if you just do that work that I love to teach, you actually find yourself needing breath work less anyway, because you're not throwing yourself out of balance constantly, with these past unhealed triggers, So, So yeah, I just had to laugh at myself, because I teach this work, and it was like, why am I doing this? So that's what I would do is, really look at regulating your nervous system. And yes, you can do breath work to keep your head above water. However, until you get to the root of the triggers that are keeping you dysregulated, it's kind of like a band-aid solution. So my advice is come to me and heal your past wounds and clear some of your emotional stuff, and you'll stop throwing yourself into dysregulation. Yeah.
We're going to start talk about what you do. And one note on that, I love that you said that, by the way. A friend of mine who runs this really large company, he was really into breath work, and it was a Band-Aid. It was totally a Band-Aid, because he's like, oh yeah, I keep doing this. But he was just so ungrounded and scattered and chasing the newest modality, the newest thing. So I love that you said it's a bit of almost like a Band-Aid. It has its time and a purpose. But
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you're going through something, yeah, knowing to slow your breathing and
Yeah.
how to deal and manage in that situation is important for sure. And there's plenty of people out there teaching you how to do that. However, if you want to stop throwing yourself into that chaos that you're describing, it's really about getting to the root cause of what's causing that chaos to begin with. And yeah.
And now we're going to talk about your business and what you do. Perfect
Yeah.
segue. So I know that your I guess your vision or your purpose is to create a spiritual revolution,
Yeah.
and I want to understand what that actually means. So tell me more. What are you up to?
Yeah. It means different things to different people, I think. However, for me, I worked for a leading meditation teacher, Joe Dispenza. I don't know whether
Yeah.
you've heard
Oh,
of him.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's
Okay.
great.
So I worked for him. I was one of his team leaders. And what I really noticed in the community, like there was so many amazing experiences. I really loved being there for the time that I was there. It was such a growth opportunity. However, what I really noticed was, some people were getting amazing results, but there were so many people that were so stuck and on this emotional roller coaster and just really struggling in the work. And so when I left in 2020. And after I left, I really kind of dived deep into things to sort of understand what was going on. My brother had just suicided. He actually gave me this beautiful gift of really understanding the next piece that I was going to go into. And what it really comes down to for me in terms of a spiritual revolution is stop trying to be positive all the time. Stop trying to live this one-sided life and, have everything perfect and only love and light and good vibes only and positive vibes only. And love yourself in your darkness.
Yeah.
Really, really, you will transform anything when you can love yourself in that. And what I really realized was that it's not about getting rid of part of yourself. It's not about, you know, getting rid of this dumb version of you or this, ugly version of you or this, bitchy, mean, whatever version of you, whatever you've got going on, right, that you don't like about yourself. It's not about getting rid of those parts. You never get rid of them. You'll never get rid of them. It's like, you throw something that's attached and it just comes straight back, right? You can't, it's part of you. And so the work that I do and the spiritual revolution is instead of, trying to be this one-sided version that's not possible, not possible. No one is positive all the time. No one's happy all the time. It's about transforming yourself through loving those parts that you don't like. And so what happens is instead of the mean girl coming out when you least expect it because you feel insecure,
Yeah.
she's no longer controlling you. Instead of you saying stupid things in moments when you're trying to be intelligent, they no longer come out because you've owned that part of you and that part of you is no longer controlling you. And so what we say in my work is what you don't own owns you. And so people will say, they'll tell you, oh, I'm so inclusive, I'm so kind, I'm so clever. They tell you all the things that they're proud of. But they're really covering up the things that they're shameful of. And that's the stuff that we want to love, because that's the stuff that's actually controlling you and, causing you to not only act in certain ways, but it's the cap that's the ceiling on your income. It's the people that you attract in life. It's the relationships that you have. It's all of your life is created by these disowned parts, we call them. And so, like I say, if you have this attachment to being intelligent and you really don't like being seen as dumb, you'll say stupid things. You'll say them at the most inopportune times. I know, because this was me. And it's like, God, why did I even say that? Like, right? But yeah, it's like these parts of you are like beach balls, and you're trying to keep all of them hidden because you don't want people to see that you're dumb or you're mean or you're ugly or you're, you don't want people to see these parts. So they're like beach balls, and you're trying to hold them all under the water at the same time. But as we know, beach balls are impossible to hold underwater and they pop up. Yeah. And so all of these disowned parts are actually attached to past traumas, and they can be big traumas, they can be little traumas, they can be, what we call emotional baggage. And so it's really about loving yourself completely and understanding that in life you're going to have challenges, and challenges are how we grow and evolve. And yes, having an optimistic outlook for sure, but not this sort of toxic positivity that's kind of come in over the years of you've only think positive and don't think negative at all, and remove toxic people, and this kind of behavior. Yeah.
I love, by the way, what you're saying, and a couple of facets or things are coming to my mind. Number one is my past career was working in the personal development industry with some well-known speakers, and a big part of that was positivity, like goals, go after the goals. And so you were actually trained that it was weak to have that side of you, right? Which is really hard. It still comes to play. I always feel it's still coming in my life as well. Also, the fact I find with women as well, either you're trained, that's weak to be like that. So especially in business, I find as a woman, like, oh, that's weak to be feminine or to have emotions or whatever. You push it away, so you kind of go into that masculine energy of running a business. There's a lot of these things that we're taught, right? That we don't even quite know that we're taught them.
Yeah. And just on the positive thinking thing, it actually destroys your emotional resilience.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, I just got goosebumps. So what happens is, and I see it in the people around me, I see it in my clients, they and in Joe's community, it was huge. You've got to think positive all the time. Do not give any attention to the negative. And so what happens is, we cannot live a one-sided life. We live in duality. So it's literally impossible. Yeah. So you're already setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
And so when something that you perceive as negative happens, you can't handle it. You can't deal with it. You can't deal with so-called negative people. And so you have no emotional resilience. However, when you firmly ground yourself in the theories that I teach and the model that I teach, it's not about living a one-sided life. It's about understanding that there's good and bad in everything. It doesn't matter what happens. There is good and bad in absolutely everything. And I prove it every time with my clients, right? Because this is the work that we do, is finding the balance and the harmony with any situation. And what that does is, I use an analogy of a tree, and what that does is, the deeper you can put your roots to hell or into the darkness or into the shadow and the stuff that you don't like, the further your branches can go into heaven. And you actually end up being firmly grounded in who you really are. Yeah. And that is everything, because you are everything. And when the breeze blows or the negativity comes in, you sway in the breeze rather than getting completely uprooted. And that's what I see positive thinking as, is like it's this sort of shallow root system that might look great on the surface, but you don't have any emotional resilience. You don't have, some firm roots going down into the depths of those parts that you don't like about yourself. And, when you haven't owned the things that you don't like about yourself, if someone says something to you, you're triggered, you're thrown off course, you know.
Yeah.
But people can say just about anything to me these days, and it's like, okay,
Whatever.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm definitely that. You know, it's fine because, I understand that the more I have the ability to say I am that thing, the more resilient I am, the more I've transcended my old way of being, the different people I start to attract, the different experiences, the different, levels of income, even in business, I start to attract in my life. And that's not to say that I don't get triggered, right? Because, I'm not Jesus yet, right? Yeah. But compared to where I was, even after I left Joe, I've done so much healing in the last 5 years than the previous 15, after my awakening. So, yeah.
Okay, so two things. Number one, you mentioned the ceiling on salary, and you just mentioned it again right there. So
Mm.
to help us understand a little bit more about that, how does embracing the darker side of you, those parts, how does that help with your beliefs around money?
Yeah. So our identity is what's basically creating our reality. So how we think about ourselves, is basically what our life is based around, because you'll show up in different ways. If you think you're worthy, you'll go for that job, you'll go for that promotion, you'll ask for more money, right? And so anything that's, in what we call the shadow, these parts that you don't like, it's causing you to feel a certain way about yourself. And this is where the self-sabotage comes in. This is the imposter syndrome stuff, the people pleasing even, and so you'll act in a different way based on how you feel about yourself. And so when we change the way we feel about ourselves, and you can sit there and in front of a mirror and say I love you 1,000 times, but it doesn't really mean much if you don't believe it. And so owning these parts that we don't like, and owning the things that we do like about ourselves too, because anything that we admire in other people is actually within us,
Yeah.
but we give it to other people to hold because we don't feel worthy of it. And so in my work, we also take that stuff back and say, thank you for holding this for me, but I can actually see my brilliance now. I can actually see how intelligent I am or how beautiful I am, and so we own all aspects, and that changes your self-image, and then, because your self-image is changed. I mean, it's like you put on, a pair of heels to go out in town, and all of a sudden you feel like you can kind of take on the world if you like wearing heels.
Yeah.
So there's this change that happens, right? And it impacts the way we behave, and it impacts our expectations. And if you want to talk about metaphysics, we are constantly creating the reality around us, the world
Oh,
around
yeah.
us, from our internal programming. And so, as within, so without. So whatever's reflected in the world around us is actually within us. And we have this beautiful gift in the people around us called mirrors. They,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, these mirrors are the people around us. And so we get to see insights into ourselves of what we've not yet loved, what we've not yet owned, and then we can start to do something about it. So the spiritual revolution, to answer your question in such a long way, is more about getting real to heal, and really understanding that all parts of you are worthy and valuable and important, and not just this kind of positive, one-sided version of you.
I think that's beautifully said. And I wasn't expecting that answer, but I actually love it because it's so tangible and
Mm.
you can get your head around it and understand it. And it's
Yeah.
not way up here, fluffy, like, oh, yeah, I'd love to be that one day.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? Like, I get it because, we all have these versions of ourselves that we'd rather not be and that we would rather be. However, if you spot it, you got it, is how I kind of like to help people understand this. And so, if someone comes to you and they lie to you, perhaps, then, and it really pisses you off, and you'll be probably on the other side going, I never lie, I'm so honest, blah 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 blah. Okay.
Maybe that's why
So
you're recognizing it. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And this is a perfect example of a disowned part. So, if something triggers you, it's within you. And also, if you look at people, and I mean, this is why our sports stars and celebrities, actors and singers get paid so much, because they're holding all our gold. We're projecting our brilliance onto them,
Oh, that's so good.
right? So yeah, so you think about it. We're all up in the background going, "Oh my God, they're so incredible," and they're this, that, the other. And yes, they are incredible, and so are you. So are you. And so if you spot it, you got it on both sides, the negative and the positive.
Jill, you mentioned something earlier very quickly. You said something around the long lines of, and then I had my awakening, and you just kept going. So I want to go back to I want to go back to that. What do you mean? What do you mean by I had my awakening? What was that? What happened?
Yes. So, when we look for purpose in life, there'll be themes throughout your life that indicate the path. So, this kind of idea of magic and other dimensions and transformation and things like this has always been there. I've always been teaching these principles, even when I was little and I didn't know what I was doing. However, 2007, I had just been divorced. I was divorced for nearly 12 months. And then I found out my dad had cancer.
Okay.
And he was my best friend, my hero. And a friend of mine came into my store where I was working, and she said, "Have you seen The Secret?" And I hadn't at the time, but I dived into, watching that movie, and that was sort of an eye-opener for me to think that your mind could impact your reality. And so I went hell for leather trying to work this out so that I could save my dad, basically. And so that was my awakening, to understand that how powerful your mind is. Now, my dad didn't survive. He passed, but I now know that that was his gift for me. His gift for me was this awakening to understand, more of the truth about life. Now, The Secret left out a lot of information, and that was what led me down the positive thinking path for 15 years. But I just felt so broken all the time because I couldn't attain this positivity. I couldn't maintain this positivity and this one-sided way of thinking and being, and so yeah, so that was the start of my awakening. And then like I said, when I left Joe, my brother had suicided, and that was the next level of understanding, it's not just all about the positivity, it's about loving yourself in your darkness as well, to truly transform it. And it sounds paradoxical, that you actually want to love that thing to get rid of it. But that's kind of how it works. Like, you'll never get rid of it, but you will take back control of it, and it won't control you anymore. Yeah.
So good. If you think back to you a year ago, if there was something you could tell her about what to work on, or what to focus on differently in the year ahead, what would that have been?
I think, like, I wouldn't do anything differently, but I think the key thing moving forward is just to remember to live in alignment and to not give your power away, and do things that you think you need to do, like the breath work, just to fit in or be the best or whatever. But I mean, yeah, because I know my best is actually in this root cause work rather than being all of the things to people. So the message would be just to live your truth and focus on that, and either dump or delegate anything that's not for me. Yeah.
That's great advice. So
Yeah.
as we start to wrap up, I want to know more about how you work with people. So tell us more. Where do people find out about you? How can they work with you?
Yes. Best place is just to go to jillogle.com. And basically, I work with people one on one, so they can come to me and have sessions kind of like this.
Yeah.
And I have people all over the world having incredible breakthroughs with, money situations, divorces, health situations reversing. So if you've got something big, that's the best way to work with me is one on one. And then I've also got a weekly membership that I launch. It's always running, but I have specific launches throughout the year. And that's where you can come and actually learn what I teach. So you understand the principles and the way of thinking and really start to embody the work yourself. And I coach you as well. So it's kind of a hybrid thing where you're learning the foundations, but you're also having the coaching as well. So, yeah.
Got it. So if somebody just is like, okay, I just want to get it stuck in. I know I need to get to get to the root cause and look at what's going on.
Yeah.
That would probably be best one-on-one with you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you one last question, and that is, what else would you like us to know if you could leave us with a thought?
Oh, just know that you've already got it. Like, I'm quite a futurist, and by that I just mean that clients come to me and they'll tell me all their problems, and I'm like, my God, I can already see you. I can already see your future version of you waiting for you. And you're already it. It's just waiting for you to catch up. And so I hold that vision for people immediately when they come to me. And so really just having people to understand you're already it. You've just got to realize it. That's really what it comes down to. And that's what I help people to do. Yeah.
The best message to leave this. This chat's been absolutely perfect because I know you guys that are listening or watching that have your business and you're working to grow. If you're where you are, from 5 years ago, you're still there today. It's you. You're the problem. It's you.
No, but it is. And I really, that's such a great point, Heather, because people can change instantaneously. Like, I'm not even kidding. I've been working with clients that have had issues for 6 months. And in the session, the moment we've collapsed that pattern, they've had evidence from their external reality to say, it's done, it's changed, it's shifted.
Yeah.
Like, it's just how it happens. And it feels miraculous and like magic at times. But it's true. It is.
It's true.
Yeah.
I've seen it too. So guys, put down the business books.
Yeah.
Maybe stop listening to the business podcasts and work on yourself. If you've tried everything else, maybe Jill and this conversation is your catalyst and your invitation to do that. So Jill, thank you for being here.
I love that so much. Thank you. It's been so great to be on the show. I really enjoyed your energy, and it's great to talk with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.